Hi, welcome. Today's class, we are focusing on your spine, your shoulders, your chest, your back, and your core. Hi, welcome. Today's class, we are focusing on your spine, your shoulders, your chest, your back, and your core. And the idea behind this particular sequence is that you can do it any day of the week. And the idea is also that we really spend a lot of time sitting at desks. We wear packs when we hike, and we just get to this really uncomfortable hunch. So we're here to open up through our chest, expand our spine, and feel really great. So let's get started. All right, let's get started on our back. So come into Supta Baddha Konasana. And you'll roll all the way down to your back and bring the soles of your feet together, knees nice and wide. You can let your arms be open, shoulders relaxed, perhaps eyes closed, or you can set your gaze right on the ceiling. Here, let's begin our Ujjayi breath. So pull your belly button up and in, anchoring into your core. Take a deep breath in and let out a big exhale through your mouth. Good. Again, breath in. And this time, exhale again. Good. Now keep your mouth closed. Inhale in through your nose. Mouth closed. Exhale through your nose. And again, inhale until your back ribs expand. And exhale deeply. So one of the great things about Ujjayi breath, and keep going, is that it lifts, you have to really lift your belly and engage your core to get fully into your Ujjayi breath. So you'll be working your core right from the start, and then we'll add in a little bit more just for fun. So press the soles of your feet together and press your low back into the floor. Lift your feet about 4 inches off of your mat and stretch your toes out. So press the 4 corners of your feet together, hug them in. Take your hands behind your head, lift your shoulder blades off of the floor, and we'll go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and pause, and then lower all the way back down. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Press your low back down into your mat. Lift your shoulders off the floor. Lift your feet and lift for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pause. Hug your knees into your chest and squeeze. And then roll out a little bit side to side since we're still warming up into our backs. And then you'll rock yourself all the way up to a seat. Find the balance point on your butt bones and your tailbone for boat pose. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Lift your chest towards the ceiling, and then you can extend your arms. And I like to say you really have mastered yoga when you can smile in the middle of your core work. So lift your chest to the ceiling and then low boat. Press your low back into the floor. Squeeze your thigh muscles. Keep breathing. Good. Come back up to high boat. Lift up through your chest. Back to low. Low back on the floor. Shoulders are off the floor. Squeeze your thighs. Come back up high boat and lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set your feet down on the floor. Okay, give your knees a squeeze. Lift your chest up towards the ceiling and release a bit in your core. Cross your legs, downward facing dog. Plant your hands shoulder width distance. Step your feet to the back of your mat. And your feet are hip width distance. You have about 2 fists space between the inner arches of your feet. Ground your palms flat into the floor. So first fingers are 12 o'clock. Press the knuckles at the base of your first and middle finger into your mat. Lift your butt high towards the ceiling. You can even lift your heels to really get the extension in your spine. And press your heels down towards the floor. And for those of you with those awesome tight hiker hamstrings, lift your tailbone even higher. And if you feel like you need to bend your knees to get the extension in your spine, work that way. And then always Ujjayi breath, breathing deeply in and out through your nose. And those of you who are more open in your hamstrings, press your heels down towards the floor. So as much as we're holding this pose, it's really dynamic. Still rotating your shoulders down and away from your ears, lifting your tailbone as your body starts to warm up, and breathing deeply. All right, walk forward to the top of your mat. Bring your feet to hip width distance for ragdoll. So your feet are parallel, hip width distance. Outer edges of your feet are roughly parallel with the edges of your mat. Hold onto your elbows and hang your upper body heavy down towards the floor. Here, press down into the four corners of your feet. So big toe knuckles, pinky toe knuckles, both sides of your heels. And spin your inner ankles open towards the back of your mat. You're probably already feeling it in your hamstrings, so knees are bent. And relax your upper body and shake your head out. And let the weight of your head actually draw your spine down towards the floor. And take your hands to your low back and interlace. So we're getting a nice stretch through our shoulders here. Extend your arms up towards the ceiling. Straighten your arms. Lift halfway. Get more space in your spine. And then exhale, fold forward down towards your toes. And again, shake your head out. A lot of times we don't even realize how tight and tense we are in our shoulders and our neck until we get into this pose. And releasing, you could even start to bend one knee at a time and get a little bit of a twist side to side. Release your hands down to the floor. Bring your feet to touch, big toes together, and slowly roll yourself all the way up to stand. So we're going to start today in our sun salutation A's, which are a really traditional way to build heat in your body and open up into your body. Ground down into the four corners of your feet in mountain pose. Pull your belly button up and in so your tailbone can get nice and long towards the floor. Hug your shoulder blades in towards your spine. Good. Inhale, reach your fingers up towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold your chest down towards your feet. Halfway lift. Hands are on your shins. Lengthen your chest long and parallel with the floor. Right? If you're more open in your hamstrings, your fingertips could be down on your mat. I like shins. It just gives me a little more room for extension. Pull your shoulders into your back. Engage your belly fully. And then plant your hands and step back to plank pose. And so hips are just below level with your shoulders. They're not sagging like this or lifting up super high towards the ceiling. Find that sweet spot where you can lengthen your tailbone and really engage the front side of your belly, right? If it's getting harder, you're in the right spot. Lift your chest long towards the front edge of your mat. Shift forward, tippy toes, and lower yourself all the way down. Low cobra. Press the tops of your feet into the floor to your knees. Lift up towards the ceiling and roll your chest open and forward. Wrap your elbows in towards your spine. And exhale, lower down. Press yourself back. Downward facing dog. Good. Ground your hands down into the floor and then set your gaze again between your big toes. Right. And it can be very, very easy during our yoga practice to start making lists where we're like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to eat for lunch. I wonder how much longer this video is going to go. Bring your gaze back to that spot right between your big toes and deepen your breath. And bend your knees, look forward, step forward, top of your mat. Halfway lift, lengthen long through your chest, and exhale, fold to your toes. Let's take another sun A. Reach to the ceiling, stand up tall, belly lifted in. Exhale, fold your chest back to your toes. Halfway lift, inhale, lengthen long through your chest. Exhale, plank pose and lower all the way down to your mat. Legs are super strong. Low cobra, press the pinky toe edges of your feet into the floor. Downward facing dog, exhale. Here we are again. Create more space, lift your tailbone higher towards the ceiling. Press your heels towards the mat till your toes can start to lighten up off of the floor. And bend your knees, look forward, step or hop top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. So we'll add on chair pose. Lower your hips towards the floor and reach your arms up towards the ceiling. So you should be able to see your big toes just past your knees. You can have a little gap between your heels and spin your inner arches towards the back of your mat so you feel your inner thighs hug in. Right? Lots of us where our knees tend to go out open and wide, so you want to squeeze into center. Pull your belly button in until your low back gets nice and long and reach your arms straight up towards the ceiling. Right? Relax your shoulders. Feel full extension. If you're smiling again, you're mastering yoga. Big breath in and exhale, fold. Halfway lift, inhale, lengthen, high plank, exhale, lower down to the floor. Low cobra, squeeze your shoulder blades in towards your spine. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Step your right foot to your right hand. Warrior one. So your feet are heel to heel alignment, which is basically heels roughly in one line. Your back foot's about 60 degrees, and then reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Press your right heel into the floor, pull your right hip towards the back of your mat, then bend your right knee deeper over your front ankle. And again here, belly lifted up and in, shoulders relaxed down your spine. You can set your gaze at one spot on the wall in front of you. Stay with your breath. Good. And then open into warrior two. Right, so I know my back is to you here. Make sure your front knee is stacked over your front ankle and open your left toes to about 90 degrees and lift the arch of your back foot off of the floor. Relax your shoulders and hug your arm bones in towards your spine. So the key is here. So I have a tendency to stick my butt out a lot in poses. I have to focus a lot on core engagement and tilting my tailbone towards the floor. All right, we're building a lot of heat here in warrior two. Gaze is steady over your front hand. And we'll add on. Lower your forearm to the top of your thigh for side angle. Left arm up towards the ceiling. So drive your right heel into the mat and pull your right hip towards the back of your mat. Lengthen your chest and roll up towards the sky. And so if you're feeling your right knee cave in a little bit, work it so it's right over your front ankle and feel your outer right glute doing the work. This is the muscle that works so hard during hiking. So you want to get even stronger here. Breathing deeply. And then bring both hands to the floor. Lower your back knee down for a low lunge. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Pull your belly button in. We're going to add a twist. Hands to heart center. Inhale. And exhale, twist your left elbow outside your right knee. All right, so press your palms deep into the mat to lift your chest. So these twists are so great for getting more extension in your spine. When we hike, we tend to go in one direction the whole time. And so this one's adding in more mobility, more space. Take your left hand down inside the floor, inside your foot to the floor, and then reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Keep breathing. And hands back to your mat to plank pose. Inhale, shift forward, lower to the floor. You can always take knees down if you're getting a little tired. Low cobra, squeeze your shoulders into your back. Downward facing dog. Left side, step your left foot to your left hand. Warrior one, ground your back, heel down. Check your feet, and then inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. All right, so if you're a hiker and you've got the crazy tight hip flexors, you're gonna be feeling it right away. Spiral your right hip towards the top of your mat and really engage your belly to support the opening into your hip flexor. Bend your front knee over your front ankle. Steady breaths. And warrior two, open your hands wide. So your back toes open to 90 again. Press your left heel deep into your mat. Pull your thigh bones and your arm bones into center. That's where your strength is. Keep breathing deeply. And forearm down to the top of your leg, right arm towards the ceiling, side angle. So again, you can, if you let your knee cave in, your outer butt muscle is really not doing a lot of work. So stack your left knee, pull your left glute towards the back of your mat, bend your knee deeper, and then roll your chest up towards the ceiling. And then hands back to your mat. Lower your right knee into the low lunge, which also is a great opening into your hip flexors. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, twist to your left side. Right, so now you have a great view of how my spine is working in my back. So this is common, letting yourself kind of hunch forward. Push into your hands so you can get more extension through your spine. Right, we get length in our twist by lifting our spine longer. And you're shifting, you're squeezing your feet in towards each other, rolling your chest up towards the ceiling, and then right hand down inside to the floor. Reach your left arm up towards the sky. Okay, so if you're kind of rolling forward again here, really work to lift your chest forward, lengthen, and rotate your left ribs up towards the ceiling. And then hands back to the mat to plank pose. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower to the floor. Low cobra, squeeze your legs. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Deep breath in. And you can let out a lion, stick your tongue out, and and bend your knees. Step or hop, top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. And exhale, fold to your toes. Inhale, reach all the way up to the ceiling. And let's take a balancing pose, eagle. Wrap your right arm under your left arm and lift your right leg over your left leg. So squeeze your inner thighs nice and tight together. Hug your belly button in and lift your elbows so they're even with your shoulders. And you can look right between your arms at a spot on the wall. You could bring your gaze in closer towards your forearms, which might really challenge your balance. And then release. Inhale, reach your arms up to the ceiling, left side. So wrap your left arm underneath your right arm. If you're tighter in your shoulders, you can actually just grab your shoulders rather than the full bind. Bend your knees and lift your left leg over your right leg. So it might be like, why would we bother with this pose? We're strengthening our ankles and our feet, which are so important for hikers. Pulling your belly in and then getting some nice opening into your shoulders as well. Keep breathing. And then release. Inhale, reach up to the ceiling. And exhale, fold forward down to your toes. Halfway lift, inhale and lengthen. Exhale, plank pose. Shift forward, lower to the floor. And this time, you get to stay here for a moment. Take your hands back by your hips and then take them to your low back and interlace your hands. So bend your elbows and squeeze your shoulder blades in towards each other. Extend your arms straight. Squeeze your legs and lift your chest and your feet off the floor. So this is locust with a bind. Okay, keep breathing. Pull your belly button in to lengthen through your chest and hover your hands off your back if that's possible. Squeeze your thigh muscles really strong here in your back bend. And then slowly lower yourself all the way down. You can wiggle your hips a little bit here and be grateful to feel the floor underneath you, even if it's under a yoga mat only. Let's take another back bend, upward facing dog. So take your hands right by your ribs, wrap your elbows in towards each other. So press the tops of your feet into the floor like you're going to take a locust, and instead, press down into your palms, roll your chest towards the ceiling, and hug your shoulder blades in towards your spine. Steady gaze, breathing deeply. Downward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back. And from here, we'll come forward to a seat. You can hop through or bring your knees down, cross your ankles. That was like the easy way down. Bring your feet flat to the floor, lower yourself all the way down to your mat. And we'll do a little bit of hip opening to close. So cross your right ankle over your left knee for a reclined pigeon. You can take the back of your left thigh and press your right knee out. Flex your toes, especially on your top leg, to protect your knee. Sometimes I work by pulling my upper foot towards me and starting to just gently work deeper into my hips. You may find, right, your hips get really tight after a long hike. So this is a great way to get a little bit of release in. And your hips actually work hard in yoga, right? So we're letting yourself restore and get a little bit soft after the intense standing poses that we did. And then switch, cross your left ankle over your right knee. Flex your toes and then press through your left hand, starting to get a little bit more space in your left leg, or you can hold the back of your leg, of your right leg working here. Breathing deeply into the stretch. And bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a hug. So we'll close with one more spinal twist. Take your arms open like a T and roll your knees to the left. And you can actually move around and actually shift your hips over so that your knees can come more towards parallel with your hips. And then look away from your twist. So you're getting a full twist all the way up into your cervical spine. And letting your body relax here. A student asked me recently if he should be doing anything in a supine twist, and I said no. The idea is for you actually let gravity do the work, let your body soften after the intensity of your practice. Come back to center and roll your knees down. To the right, you can kind of shift your hips around until it's comfortable. Roll your knees to the right and look over your left hand. You can take your hand actually on your knees if you want to just add a little bit of weight, but also it's nice to just let the gravity do the work here. And then come back to center. Shavasana, final rest. Extend your legs straight. Open your arms to the ceiling, and you can tuck your shoulders underneath you just a little bit. Close your eyes. Relax all the muscles in your legs and in your belly. Soften your face muscles. And just notice the intensity of your practice and letting your body sink down into this final space of closing. And we'll stay here for a little bit. If you would like to take a longer Shavasana, you could always feel free to pause right here and take a couple minutes for yourself. This is also the place to let go of your breath. It's the one part of our practice where we go back into natural breath. And so when you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Pull your knees into your chest and roll over onto your right side and slowly press yourself all the way up to a seat. And bring your hands together in front of your chest. So it was closed with Namaste, which means the light and the divinity that is in each and every one of us. So bring your thumbs to the center of your forehead. Namaste.